This is chill. This is down in the cinema. This is the screening. This is the inner sanctum of Pocket Gamer Connect London. And so we're going to huddle in here because I got really lucky. I met each of you during Slush, actually part of RoviaCon as well, hanging out in the Shark Tank. And then I find out you've got not only a kick-ass idea, but you've got investors, you've got interest. So bringing it back, just awesome. So tell our listeners, our audience a bit more about you, because they're going to think, okay, those are the cool people who had the panel about influencers, but you're not the usual influencers. I mean, in a good way, guys, in a good way. You're absolutely real, and you absolutely have a concept, and you're going to have a game built on influence. So that is something. Who's going to kick it off?
I think Simon,
you're going to do it.
So I guess it kind of started about 5 years ago when I was on holiday. I was on holiday with my family. I was like, I'm playing this mobile game, and I think I could do some YouTube videos on it. And I was like, but I don't know if I've really got the personality to pull it off. Anyway, I started to put some videos out. Honestly, this is true. Okay. 3 months later, I was quitting my day job. I had this kind of like surge on YouTube, and basically became the biggest creator for Raid Shadow Legends, which is a mobile game. Was able to build a big YouTube following. Mm-hmm. And then I teamed up with Dan. Dan actually pitched me an idea to say, you should have a bigger social presence. You should have a website. Mm-hmm. You should have more tools for your community to engage with. Okay. And we started to work together and built HH Gaming and a website called heldhades.com. We've now got, we get about 11 million page views a month. We've got about 400,000 members. And that membership group said, look, you guys know so much about this genre. Why don't you build your own game? And
stop fussing around. Yeah, just make the game, okay?
Yeah. And at first we kind of laughed up and said, well, we're not game developers, so we're not going to do that. But then actually I remember a meeting where we were like, look, why don't we build our own game? And nobody laughed in the meeting. Yeah. I was like, hold on a minute. That's it. Why don't we do it? Like, we've got the skill set, we've got the knowledge. Yeah. And I mean, maybe Dan sort of flesh out a bit more about heldhades.com and what we do there.
So I'm Dan. My background is digital marketing, so I've worked with brands and mainly more in the corporate world for my entire career. And during COVID lockdown, I met up with Simon. I actually stumbled across his first ever Twitch stream and ended up moderating for him through that. And I saw this gap in the market that we were covering, that nobody was really creating content in terms of a web presence in a way that other games were. So you had League of Legends, World of Warcraft, things like that, that had these resource websites that people were doing. But this game was very similar in terms of the required information to play the game at a high level, but it wasn't being covered. So I reached out to Simon. I was like, look, you're getting this really cool traction. He just literally made the step to go full-time on YouTube. And I kind of filled in a bit of the gap, I guess, with the knowledge base of building a brand rather than just him as a YouTuber. Mm-hmm. So we worked together, we partnered up, and we came up with the idea of launching a website and making it the best in class for the space, but modeling it on existing platforms, but for other games. And we launched it in 2020. It was the 1st of December 2020. Yeah. With Simon's idea of what we would call a soft launch. He basically put a video.
I don't tend to do soft launch. I'm like, okay. No, we're launching. And I'm like, right, everyone, we've done this thing. And basically we had to like double the power of the server about 5 times on the day. It was just like, we go again.
Simon's idea of a soft launch was to put a video out on his YouTube channel with the thumbnail, free stuff. Yeah. It worked.
That will do it.
What more do you want?
We did over 1 million page views in 3 days for a brand new website going out there, and we just scaled the audience basically from there. So we very much focused specifically on creating high value for the viewers on the website. That's always been our number one priority. The financing and the money side of things has always been a byproduct of creating a great product for the community. And that's where we focused on building the community, which, as Simon said, we've built to over 350,000 members now. That's actually registered members who use our tools, and we get 11 million page views per month. We've got a team of 18 people working on that project, and that company's turning over multiple millions a year now, which is great. But that community reached out to us and said, why aren't you guys making your own game? And as Simon said, it was a pipe dream. It was something that, we probably couldn't do. But the more years and the more stability that we built with HH Gaming, the more we realized that it could actually be possible. And we'd met Hisham a year before through his project.
Okay.
And that's kind of how he came into the mix.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was running an indie studio. I had been for like 10 years. And the big thing was, for me, working with these guys, it just felt so natural. It was like, I actually reached out hilariously to Simon, cold message on Discord. Okay. It was just like, hey man, I've got this game you should check out, because I loved Radio Shadow Legends. I was playing it myself, and I was working on a game that had kind of like some similarities. So I'm like, okay, let me just reach out. We'll see it. Yeah. No one's gonna answer.
Yeah.
He immediately answers. We hopped in a Discord call. I think a video call that day.
Yeah, we did.
I'm like showing him, and so we really hit it off, and I loved working with these guys. And from there, it was like when the time came, and the community was saying, hey, make us a game. It made sense, right? We just worked.
I think what's really interesting. So I put out a video to say, okay, Fateless Games is born, and we're now starting to do the pre-work to produce our first game, and we've got such a trust from this community. We had this outreach of investors from the community saying, we would love to be involved in Fateless. Yeah. Is that even an opportunity? So our first kind of pre-seed round, the majority of that was actually through accredited investors, but from the community, people that our community is a slightly older demographic of gamer, sort of 35 plus generally, and a lot of them that play this style of games, they're in business. You'll be surprised by some of the big hitters that play this style of game, and we ended up raising $6 million in like a 10-week period. Really, in 2023, we've been told so many times since that. That's
like, how did you
insane
raise that
to do that
in that time period?
It's all about his magnetic personality.
I know.
Well,
it's
I don't know.
I'm
sorry, I'm not sure if I can be the personality. Like, come on, man, get out of here.
Yeah, but it's been brilliant. So since then, we've built a fantastic team. We've almost got this like FOMO approach of people joining our team.
Oh my God.
Ex-Rioters, ex-Microsoft developers, EA. It's just been fantastic. So
and
it's all through connections. Honestly, we come to these events like Pocket Gamer or GDC,
and you connect with me, right?
Peggy, exactly.
Connect with you, connect with.
But I would have hung out with you anyway because you're so cool. But I just didn't see it when I thought you were just talking about, we're going to prototype, we're going to do a game. I didn't see all of this in the background. How you smartly built the community first. I mean, everyone you talk to out there, they're saying you have to have a community for your game. What do? We need a community manager. We need everything.
How do we do
it? And they have to
build
backwards engineer it. And you did it first.
And actually what people tend to do is it's like, okay, we built this game. We need to build a community. Let's go and find an influencer that can help us do it.
Yeah.
Whereas
just need a bunch of numbers, right?
It's but whereas this is like the passion from within. We're building a game that we love to play. And like the influencer, i.e. me, is absolutely genuine in this project, rather than it's like a bolt-on, which will get some traction, but it's not like a true love of theirs. It's not something like a passion project. So, for us, it's I think it's that kind of like real element to what we're doing, and the community are absolutely behind us. We do we do 2 YouTube videos on our Fateless YouTube channel a week. One is like a podcast where we invite people on from the industry, and one is more like a dev diaries, showing people what it actually takes to make a game. And this is how we take a 3D model from base right the way to finish. This is what animating looks like. This is what creating a cinematic looks like.
Because when you get down and dirty into like the details of it, it is a lot.
It's a ton,
people love to hear like, well, how do you do that?
How
does it get from concept to inception all the way through?
They still want to live the dream. I mean, I spoke with so many indies. I spoke with one, and he's like, we're 4 people, and they came across a concept, because we all know that like IP that's old has a new life. You don't even have to rethink it. And you could imagine people like that saying, I can do this. I'll watch Simon. I'll figure it out.
Right.
But also the community are almost like living through the build themselves. So many times we get comments around, it feels like I'm involved in your team, because we see, we do an art attack like once a week where it's kind of like, right, here's our new 2D concepts for our heroes. Our game's a hero collector, by the way. So you're kind of collecting heroes from mythology. And it's all characters that people would recognize, like Anubis and Zeus and Thor, Leonidas.
Thor,
like
my favorite.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So they see our interpretation of those heroes,
Uh-huh.
and you get really great reactions, but they feel like they're living in the game development themselves.
They're a part of the process.
Yeah, and it gets this real like long-term buy-in, honestly, from our player base. So yeah, I mean, we're kind of moving towards a beta, which is really exciting. We've already got tens of thousands of people signed up to that, and we're looking to launch this year. So yeah,
I heard that. I'll be watching for the launch. I'll be watching for that. What's the impression that people have when you go to them with this concept? Because I have to admit that I was just thinking, had a great time with you guys in Helsinki. It was on my list to get back in touch with you, but I didn't. And then Adam's like, yeah, I'm talking to these great influencers. I'm like, oh yeah, who are they? And then it's like, oh, you? And it wasn't meant in that way, but I'm sure that like in the industry, because, let's face it, our industry is a little bit, it can be off the wall and off the charts. And you go up and you go there, in your sweater and say, hi, I'm a real guy, but I got a kick-ass community.
Yes.
Do they think that you've been nipping something?
Well, I think there's probably an element of I can't really believe it until I see it. Yeah. But then actually when you see it, it's like, well, this is real. And, the community that we've got, they're a slightly older demographic. Like they just want to, they want to see someone enjoying what they enjoy. Yeah. And, we spoke about it a little bit earlier, but, this demographic, they tend to stick with games for a long period of time. And, they'll stick with influencers that they like for a long period of time as well. So I think it's a different take. It's almost a different take, really. I'm not like a TikTok, gonna dancer. That's absolutely not my style. I am long form, like yeah.
But we're not recording.
But yeah, consistently I put out a video every single day for basically 3 years. People know what they're going to get from my content. It's informative, it's educational, but also we have fun. We do live streams where we just do fun experiences, and that's generally what people want. They want to sort of break away from their day-to-day work life. They just want to enjoy the game they're playing. And I mean, what's great as well about what we've done at HH Gaming is we've actually started to build into more like a team and a brand. Yeah. So originally it was me, but now we've got a number of influencers within HH Gaming, and they support what we're doing at Fateless as well. And it's there's almost this kind of like overriding hype from that group of people that already play this style of game anyway, that Godforge, which is going to be our first title, is going to be the next game that comes into this genre and takes over. The whole kind of like dream of a game made by gamers, tested by gamers, and
for the people, with the people, like that type of stuff.
But it's done in a real fashion. It's not kind of just fake, like words. That's absolutely what we're doing. It's like, what do we really love about these games? What type of nostalgia can we bring back from games that we've loved in the past? And how do we make sure that we kind of bring that special sauce into what we're building? And so far, all the play testing has just been fantastic. We're getting really great vibes. So, and that's rewarding for me. Like people say, what do you want from this? I just want to make a really great game that people absolutely love to play. Like, we've already been successful in business. This for me is about, I'd love to just have hundreds of thousands, millions of players that absolutely love the game. Yeah. And and giving us great feedback so that we can continue to create.
And by the way, spirals. Then it has its own dynamic, and you can almost let it go to the community in a way as well.
Yeah. Well, by the way, this is like, I think this is going to be required soon, in a sense, right? I think that if 2024 was the year of the fan, this is going to be the year of the true fan. Like, there's so much. It's really hard. Discovery is going to be really, really hard, right? The faster things can be made, the easier it is to use AI to commoditize a lot of these things. Yeah. It's like, if you don't have someone that you're looking to as your for your taste, right? What am I going to get into? All right, I really trust Simon. I know that he's not going to lead me astray. If he says that this is a cool game, I'm going to try it. Yeah. When there's so many games coming out, thousands of games, tens of thousands of games coming out a year, how do you pick? This is how you're going to pick. And I think. But again, going back to what you were saying earlier, it's not like something that's fake. It's not something like, okay, hey, we've made a game, we're a developer, and we're going to reach out to this random influencer that, they kind of like these games.
And try and find the fit with your game.
It's someone who's it's in. I legitimately think that this is the next evolution of the way gaming is going to be. Yeah.
That's what he thinks, Daniel. Now you're putting it together as a brand, right? Yep. You've got the team, and you smartly did not go for celebrities. So congratulations for that. I am so sick of that. So sick of that. You know, and the sort of like the don't call us, we'll call you guys of gaming. You kept it real. What are you going to do to take it to that next level? Because you got a launch coming up. So what does that look like?
Absolutely. So we know that we've got this incredible snowball at the top of the hill ready to go with our established audience. I think the goal to start off with is to get the game to a point where we're proud of it. Because I guess as a brand new studio, we've also got an extremely high level of expectation for what we're going to be delivering, because we've got so many eyes on the project from day one. So it's hard in a way to make sure that we meet the levels, but we also know what the community are going to look for, and where we need to make sure that we can't cut any corners, and we can't kind of I guess miss things out which are going to really be criticized and judged. At the same time, we know that we're not perfect, and in fact by sharing this journey with the guys through the YouTube channels and things like that, we've had to make pivots in the design. You know, we've owned up to that. We've shared it with the community and brought them along for it. But obviously, that will only get us so far. The size of our community and things like that is great, but it's not enough to really break into the market and create longevity for us as a studio as a whole. And that's why we're putting a massive amount of time and effort into making sure that we've got the metrics right. We're working with the right UA partners, and we've got incredible team behind us who's you know, literally industry leaders when it comes to user acquisition and stuff like that, who have specifically worked in this genre and allowed us to utilize, I guess, the amount of budget that we've got internally, but also, I guess, the influence that we've got in terms of our reach, but make sure that we're capitalizing on every possible opportunity to kind of really stretch out that budget, because we're going up against the big boys at the end of the day. These guys have got millions and millions and millions to spend every month in user acquisition, and we're not at that level, but we have got the unfair advantage of this incredible community behind us.
What's interesting is when a game launches in this genre, they launch through our platform. So in effect, clearly we own that. So, you know, so what we can do is literally just do a full takeover of our site, you know, and basically, at least put our best foot forward, and we get a real kind of like, I guess, we attract a lot of influences in the space, because almost like they're hedging the bets that this is going to be the next big game that they can explode with. You know, every content creator on YouTube that follows games like this, they're looking for, okay, what's going to be the next trend that we can
brand
follow?
too, right?
Exactly. It's their livelihood. You know, we saw it, I think, really well with Hoyoverse when they've done kind of like Genshin Impact into Honkai Star Rail, and basically that's what we want to do, is attract that type of creator that wants to grab like the next big thing, and we want to make sure that that's us. Well,
and we're building tools specific to content creators to make sure that they are supported in that journey, right? So I think that's one of the big things. I mean, I don't know
when you say tools, what do you mean? Like so I can create as well and like give it to you and support your effort, or get a rev share, or what does that look like? Exactly.
So like if you look at Supercell, right? I don't know if you know this, but they have over 100,000.
They have an incredible
100,000
community.
Yes.
Off the charts.
But why is that? It's because they do such a good job supporting
the creators,
those creators. And actually, you know, we're very well connected to AMG. To you know, one of the co-founders is actually on our board, and so
they get it.
They get it. They understand what we're supposed to do. We've talked through like, okay, what are the great features that are really helping creators and to energize creators to do content on us, and to actually like be able to sustain their livelihood, because that's what they need, right? We need to say, hey, if you come in and you're going to be making content on our game, you can keep doing this, right? And the more people that can do that, the better.
We're building the game with almost like creators in mind. So some of our kind of game modes become extremely streamable. Yes. There's like real fun moments within some of our kind of like roguelikes and that type of thing. You know, from experience, that's really what draws an audience. So you know, if you're creating a game which is really good for influencers and creators, then that enables them to kind of blow up to a higher level as well. So
Yeah.
there's really a lot of different elements that you're pulling together to give yourself the best possible chance to have this kind of like super hit.
A centralized place where people can come and actually know how well they're doing, what kind of rev share they're getting.
Yeah.
You know, like
Did you build that? Is that your idea?
it's being built. It's being built right now. So it is not built yet, but
Yeah,
we have plans to do that and make sure that people again are inspired and supported.
Because that's what I hear all the time. It's like, yeah, we want to have creators, but they want to have like a feedback loop. If they know what they're doing, then they can do more of it. And if they see what they're earning, then they'll do more of it as well. But it can't be that black box, and it can't be agency creator.
And it won't be.
It won't be. That's not scalable. That won't happen.
No.
I was going to say, to point out as well, one thing that we've established within our community already is almost a base of new content creators who are trying to find their way into the space. And we've actually got 5 or 6 channels already popped up that's specifically just brand new content creators covering our games. Now, to help them out and kind of help them grow and foster as we start to drop more information to them, we're actually spending time one-on-one with these creators and actually teaching them how to create thumbnails, how to engage with YouTube audiences, how to improve the quality of videos that they do. And we do probably every 2 weeks to 3 weeks or so, we'll have a live call with all of the content creators that are in our space. And it's just a private space where they can kind of ask us from a content creation side of things, how can they improve? How can they reach a wider audience? Because we know how much value there is in that as we start to grow and get out to launch.
And we're already sharing their work. So we want to be known as a studio that's going to support them, not just in terms of a financial payback as a rev share if they do well, but also we want to share their videos to our audience.
Yeah.
We've been able to move a lot of the HH Gaming kind of membership group across to the Fateless audience already. So on our socials, we're sharing their videos so that at least they start to gain some traction early. Because really, they're doing videos before we've got a product. But they're talking about a lot of the things that we talked about with the way we're developing the game.
Simon's leaks, for example.
Telling what
I'm like, we're like Simon.
We do a podcast and people ask me questions, and I'm excited to share what we're doing with the game. And these guys are like, shouldn't really be talking about those features yet because we're not quite ready to share that. But for me, I'm just excited about what we're doing, and I think that just comes across really with
It's very genuine.
It's fun. Building the game is fun.
Yeah.
It's also super smart. The whole time we're talking, I'm thinking, you have figured out how to cash in on the K factor. And I was one of these people when people would talk about the K factor, and it was like I was like the warm, fuzzy. Yeah, there's a K factor, and it belongs in the equation. No, that's not something we can measure. Guess what? You just cashed in on it. You proved that it matters.
Yes.
That is so cool.
Yeah, look, I think. I just think being genuine and and enjoying what you do, that just comes across anyway, right? So and people feed off that as well. So in the same way, in my general walk of life, I want to be around people that have got positive energy that I can feed from, and creative people that inspire me. We've done the same thing at Fateless and at HH Gaming. We surround ourselves with awesome people. I don't know how to create a website. I don't know how to write code for a game, but ultimately, as long as you can get amazing people around you, you can create awesome brands. You can have great businesses, as long as they feel like those people are inspired and they're heading in a direction which is super cool. So for me, that's the main vibe is
and a platform play if you think about it, because I'm thinking the whole time it's like you're sort of like the TikTok for the common man, right?
What's
the
interesting?
tools are the smart, and the platform play is
we've had a number of
best.
we've had a number of different people that have approached us and said, well,
want the
we actually
platform.
it's like, well,
Can you help
have
us?
you
And we're
considered
like,
publishing games for other people? And we're like, kind of similar to the early thing. Well, we're not really a game developer. Now we're like, well, we're not really a publisher. It's like, well, but we do have a great platform which could to publish games as long as we feel like it would fit our community. So maybe that's a play. I don't know, next year. Maybe that's the next year.
I could see you doing it, Simon. All of you guys, I could totally see it. And it's so intelligent that it's almost like why didn't we think of this one?
Yeah, yeah. Dangerous.
I like that. Not just insightful, dangerous, because you can do so many things with it. You know, you're gonna have people banging at your door.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things, so the tools we create for our community right now, we get a lot of data. So we understand what events perform really well in games. We understand players' interactions with our tools and how much time they're spending in different areas of games, what they really enjoy. So we're able to leverage that data and understand what we want to do when we build our platform and our games. We know what things to build into our game and what things actually just are not working. And so I think in this world, data's kind of king, right? So
very valuable.
Having data for like 400,000 members, it's huge actually.
It's huge, and what's really smart is you're getting the data. People are volunteering it to you. Yeah. They're like, I'm using the tools, I'm using the platform, I'm enjoying the experience. It's almost like they're almost enjoying it more than when the game actually comes.
Yeah. It's like a game within a game almost. Like the tools help them optimize. A lot of these people, they're people that want to min-max their experience. Okay, so it's kind of like I want to put some time in to do something which enables me to perform better than I should be able to. So that's what our tools try and help people to do. So it's an optimizer. That's what we call it. But the first question we get is, well, are you going to build one of these for your game? And are you going to have your tools all available for Godforge? And of course, that's an extension of that brand because it makes a lot of sense. People now really trust what we do on that side. So it's, I think that's it. Trust, being genuine. Having fun with it as well, and then having the right people to sort of bring things to life.
And all of this kind of comes through in the way that we run the studio as well. I mean, I think that it's really important. Culture, culture is, I think, why we've been so successful. Beyond, obviously, we built this great platform, and you've got the trust of the community. But the reason I think we're getting
amazing
just
people.
talent that I'm just humbled to be working with is because again, we everything comes through, and we run the studio exactly the way that you're talking about. It's like it's all about being trusting and positive and inspiring and trying to help people. I think people just get that this is something special, and it's the next way that studios are going to be built, and they want to be a part of it. So it's like
So sometimes when we're interviewing people that looking to join the studio, and they start to talk about the games they've worked on in the past, and it's like my favorite games from my past. It's like Star Wars Galaxies, Turok, EverQuest. NBA Jam, super
like
cool games, and we're like, wow, we definitely want this guy. And they're cool guys as well. And we're like, we want this guy on the team. Like, how do we fit this in? Is it going to make sense for us financially and all that type of stuff? Because obviously, we are still running a business as well. But we've just been so lucky. We've got
tell me about the talent.
Yeah, guys building our cinematic, like the opening cinematic for the game. Ex-Rioters. Built the cinematics for the
Emmy award winning.
Emmy award winning.
Basically the worked at Riot.
League of Legends kind of like season starter cinematics. That was their work. They've worked a lot on Valorant, and then we were like, look, this is our vision. And honestly, we couldn't believe who we were talking to, and we worked with them to build the cinematic, and we're like, this is amazing. They're like, it's amazing, but we need to do.
But what about this thing?
This, like the attention to detail is next level. So it's. And they're awesome people, And so originally we were kind of working with them in a sense of, okay, you're going to do this piece of work for us as a cinematic, and then we part ways. But they loved the environment so much in our culture. They're like, look, we just need to find a role.
How do we work together?
How do we work together long term? And so now, our chief marketing officer,
Mike Berry,
is Mike, and he's come on board full time. And part of his role is now the cinematic, but then he's also working with us on the marketing front as well, and the assets and stuff. So. Maybe talk to some of the Austin
Jerry, who is the Emmy Award winning director at Riot. So the big thing that he's amazing at is he's a great listener, and he's a great connector. And so all the thing whenever he's in the room, you just kind of like everyone's kind of looking and waiting for him to kind of like come in and say something, right? So he comes in and I think that we really vibed really well with him. And so we were actually at Gamescom. And he just said, hey Sham, you need to meet this guy, Dan. I'm like, if you tell me I need to meet this guy, end of story, right? Let's do it. And so he connects me with Dan Borth. And Dan Borth he sold his studio to Keywords. He's been working in the industry for we've mentioned some of the games that he's worked on, and he said, "Hey, I've got a team of 5 really senior guys, and I'd love to work with you." And we were like, so that was the thing we were literally talking about the day before.
Exactly this. Yeah.
Joking just like, haha, wouldn't it be great if we had an amazing senior team and they wanted to, and I guess if you ask for it, it comes. So
But I think you send out that kind of vibe of, look, we want to add I think our superpower is networking really effectively when we're at this type of event, and really kind of spending time with people. So, exactly. It's kind of like, okay, you should meet this person, you should meet this person. And sometimes it's literally just a connection on the day, and sometimes it's, okay, well, let's go to a party, and then you meet 5 more people that are really interesting and have been around the industry for a long time. And, when you're then looking for a role or looking for a partner to do a certain thing, it's like, oh, hold on a minute, mate, why don't I just reach back out to Peggy or Adam or whoever it is and say, look, do you know anybody that would be really great for this? And that's really, I think pretty much all of our hires.
We haven't done any recruiting at all. It's all just been
it's just recommendations. Yeah. And
so they love the culture. I'm just curious, is it in a studio or is it remote, or how do you bring that corporate culture, the culture together? Because it sounds to me like when it's all sort of said and done and you've launched your actual game, you can think about maybe a series on Netflix on just the corporate culture.
There you go, exactly.
We are fully remote.
In the office.
Currently we're fully remote, but we're actually, we engage so much. So, we live on Discord as a group, and, we'll do a daily stand-up, always camera on, talk about activities we're doing for the day, any challenges that people got, we try and support there and then. But then there's just a lot of on-call meetings where we're kind of like working through different challenges or round tables on certain subjects. But then when we do have an event like Pocket Gamer or when we're at GDC, the local group to that area will always bring them together, and we'll do a couple of days kind of like in person deep dive. But a lot of it is about the personal connection rather than obviously we do some business talk, but generally it's about let's just make sure that we're like continue to build our culture,
because we're digital native communities essentially. So like building that private Discord that we have, the big thing is that like you said, we have daily stand-ups, but we have everybody. We have like different channels for different things. Okay, so an AFK channel where people talk about their home lives. Yeah. We have like an out of office channel where people talk about why they're out of office. Everything is very like we cultivate a culture of transparency, of being together and communicating. Yeah. We have voice channels and video channels where people just hop in. So our devs are always hopping in. Hey, what do you think about this? Let me fix that. Yeah. Our artists are sitting together and doing concepting together and checking things. It's.
But also people are so
sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
The artists are making like a 2D concept. I don't know, of Aphrodite or something, and we're like, this is really cool. And then you get some of the devs coming in there, and it's like, I really love the way you've done this. Or have you considered? They'll get like a mood board together. Have you considered doing this instead? And it's really collaborative, even like across departments. So I think because everyone's just so. They just want to create such a great product at the end of the day, and it's we're all playtesting the game, whether it's from QA right the way through to art, through every department. They want to create a great experience for the player, and it always comes back to that. So it's kind of like, are we actually bringing the fun in this part of the game?
Right.
Yeah, and it's easy just to think, is this going to monetize well? But actually, if you just have a really genuinely fun game to play that people want to stay on, then that will naturally happen anyway.
Platform people want to be a part of.
Yeah. That's right.
Platform that will do it too. So you're thinking, Daniel, building a brand out of this, normally Simon would not be scalable, right? But I think he's the type of guy who could maybe pull it off a little bit more.
For Prime Minister.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got me. But, you got to build a brand. You have to scale him. What does that mean? Because you've got other influencers, you've got a platform, and you probably have some merch. I don't know. Maybe we can have like Simon sweaters. I don't know.
we have.
It's funny you say that. I think because of the age bracket that we're in, historically we've not had a lot of success with merch. I think we've probably given away more of it than we've ever sold. But I think the main things in terms of not just scaling, say, Simon and building a brand around Simon is more scaling the team and upskilling the team. And that's why, especially at HH Gaming, one of the first things that we did was take on content creators who were in our space but growing and showing real effort and energy towards it, and creating content which the obviously resonated very well with the community. But they maybe weren't making enough money to do it full time. So what we did is we brought them into our kind of network. We gave them a full-time salary and still encouraged them to grow their platforms. And obviously they still get their income. We don't take any income from YouTube or anything like that as a part of it. We encourage them to grow. We pay them to grow. And as I guess a repercussion of that, our audience grows as well. So it's a mutual beneficial thing. We get higher quality content, like I guess within our platform, and they obviously get exposure to our network to grow, but they've got that kind of stability that they don't need to worry about the finances. They can just focus on creating great content and great quality. And that's basically our goal. Is, you know, I think it's easy with the speed that our world moves at, and you know, these past 5 years have gone by in a blink, from us building HH Gaming from day one to now, you know, scaling Fateless. It would be very easy for us to forget where we've come from. And I think, you know, the number one thing that we've done to keep ourselves grounded is just remember that the community gave us this opportunity, and we're incredibly lucky to have it, and we can't ever forget that. So that everything that we do is specifically to give back to those people who allowed us to be here today.
So basically, we want to help create the next group that want to be an HH Gaming in our space. So we want to make sure that they've got access to, you know, the right links for our data to be able to create their tools for a community that they're going to build. We want to make sure that, just because ultimately, like you say, it just wouldn't work if it's just my face trying to grow a brand. That doesn't scale to the level that a game would need to,
I believe
to scale
in you,
to.
Simon. You can
I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Like there's plenty of hours in a day. That's it.
Right.
There'll be like 1,000 AI me's around. But no, we want to absolutely help people do that. We want people to have that success as well, and you know, be able to do this full time and to really create a living from it. So because for us, what we realize is building community is really how you kind of get sticky players, right? So people that want to stay around for a long time.
Yes.
All of our best experiences playing games in the past, it comes from playing with friends.
Yes.
Now, I played Clash of Clans for probably 2 years longer than I should have done because I didn't want to let my friends down.
Yeah,
my
your
clan.
guild down, your
Yeah,
friends.
true.
And I think that whole kind of, and a lot of the systems we're building in our game for Godforge, we're like, how do we make sure that this wraps around playing together, building community, even the integrations to things like having a direct Discord integration into the game so that people can talk properly together, and decent chat systems. Like all of that's just really important to us. It's kind of where our roots have come from, but we just think it's the most effective way for this demographic of players to really enjoy the experience. If we was targeting maybe the kind of the 18-year-old sort of group, it might be different because that's all about low attention spans and everything needs to be 1 second. But actually, that's not what we're.
Are all they're going to handle.
Actually, I had an editor once who came on board, and I was like, all right, I want to kind of change my style a bit. And he'd edited for TikTok previously. He did this edit, and I was just like, whoa, that's not the style we wanted. And I was just kind of like bouncing. I was just like, these cuts are great. Like, my audience cannot handle these cuts.
Yeah.
Like, we need to scale that back a ton. Like, that's not what we're after. So,
glad to hear
So,
glad to hear that. And also glad to hear, no insulting to the industry. I realize it's got its time and place, but when I hear people say, we're going to scale our influencer program because we're going to have AI generated influencers. They can talk in any language and they'll look at you and they'll have eye contact. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You're not drinking that Kool-Aid, right?
No, that's not the way we're going. No. Real people, real communities. And again, it comes back to our demographic of player. That's not what they need. That's not what they want. They want to be able to relate to somebody that enjoys doing something that they enjoy to do. Yeah. And again, that might be for other studios, and I'm sure that's going to work great for them. But that's not our direction.
Yeah, and that was not an insult to the AI companies because I do see everything has a time and place.
Yeah, there's absolutely plenty of great tools. In fact, a lot of our velocity in development comes from really great senior developers using tools to assist them,
with that.
right?
Yeah.
It's,
Oh my God.
Augmented with AI,
it's absolutely like the right direction for studios, but it has to be done in a way that you've got the professional that understands their role really well, then they're using the tools to support them to basically do some of the menial tasks really fast. And so we're seeing a lot of, I guess, acceleration from that, really, in terms of
acceleration, honestly.
development.
Yeah.
It's not even work talking to you guys, right? It's so much fun. And I'm thinking the whole time, because we're down here in the cinema room.
Yeah,
which
it's
is like
awesome
this
here, yeah.
So cool.
Which is like this chill room, which could be like your boardroom or something. And it's got that Bond-esque feeling to it. I'm just thinking, maybe someday we'll be doing a screening of one of your movies, because it's in there, right? Merch happens. We met at RovioCon.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you've got a brand and when you have a community, things happen. So I've loved connecting with you. Now I've got a whole different view of what you do. I thought you were just like some geeky guys.
We've got a Simon sweater line coming out.
I'll get one.
I went the whole Simon fashion line. Dress for success.
There
That's what
it
I
is.
say. There you go.
Yeah.
Guys, awesome. I can see why you're doing what you're doing. And obviously you love what you're doing. And hey, I loved interviewing you. So I think I've had a great, great day with you guys. You are awesome, may I say.
Peggy.
Put it in
Absolute
there.
pleasure.
so much.
Thank
So
you.
much.
Peggy.
All the best.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cheers.
This show is all about how to do your job better, how to make an amazing game, how to market it, and you have a say. So if you have a story or know someone we need to shine a light on, then we would love to hear from you.
We want to hear from you. We want to reflect the reality of the mobile games market in all its wonderful complexity and strangeness. So if you have any suggestions for us, if you have any feedback for us, you can always get in touch. You can email us at podcast@PocketGamer.biz. You can find us on Twitter @PGBiz, and you can reach out to us through the PocketGamer.biz website. If you're interested in listening to all of our podcasts, you can find them at PocketGamer.biz/podcast, and we would love to hear your thoughts on future shows.
And we've got you covered on all the major platforms, so subscribe to the audio podcast, as Brian said. Look for us on YouTube. If you want to read it, hey, you can do that too, because we have a companion post for you as well on the PocketGamer.biz website.
Tune in again for the next edition of the PocketGamer.biz podcast, and we look forward to speaking to you in the near future. Until then, I'm Brian Baglow.
I'm Peggy Anne Salz, and that's a wrap until next week.